everything New Orleans Pelicans from a fan's perspective. "27 points, 5 rebounds." Welcome to Pelicans Flock Report, where I give you everything New Orleans Pelicans from a fan's perspective. I'm your host, D. Broussard. And first things first, man, like always, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, the all-new Pelicans Flock Report. Shout out to everybody that's already subscribed, man. I really appreciate y'all. And as long as y'all keep subscribing, I'm going to keep bringing y'all this content. Is it time for the Pelicans to rebuild? Now, obviously, the Pelicans have made no center signing thus far, and we currently only have about $15 million left in cap space to try to bring a free agent center here to the team. And I feel like we're kind of in a situation where I think we might be at the end of the road. I really do. Now, obviously, we haven't made any trades. We haven't made any free agent signings. Like, the Pelicans are just not doing anything right now. Like, I believe, that Joe Dumars and Troy Weaver, I feel like, they definitely have a vision for this team. But the way things have been going here lately, it really seems like we're positioning ourselves for a rebuild. Like, we drafted Jaron Pierre Jr., who, of course, is going to be a younger guy, a rookie. You know, um, we have a young core that we're starting to establish. Obviously, we still have a lot of the vet guys. But my thing is, the way that this team is constructed right now, I just don't see this team getting any better than they were last year. I just don't. Um, I've been saying for the last couple of episodes that the Pelicans need to try to find a center. We definitely know that we've been struggling at rebounding, rim protection, and we haven't made any moves. It's a lot of free agent moves that's been going on, and they starting to go on already. Obviously, Ja Morant is out of the conversation. Ja was traded to the Portland Trail Blazers. Also, um, Robert Williams III is now out of the conversation because he just re-signed with the Portland Trail Blazers for um, I'm not sure as far as the years on the contract, but he's definitely going to be going back to the Portland Trail Blazers. Obviously, another guy that I spoke about in one of my previous videos, which was Yukov Nurkic, he also re-signed with the Utah Jazz, so he's going to be returning. Um, Mitchell Robinson is still an option, but you're going to have to create more cap space to be able to bring in a guy like Mitchell Robinson, or let's say a Jaden Duran. You're going to have some cap space to sign these guys. Like, these guys aren't going to sign for, $15 million for 1 year. A lot of the centers, they want long-term deals. So the Pelicans definitely need more cap space if they're going to try to go after, I would say, not to say a star potential center, but a really good center. Like, really good centers, they want long-term contracts. From what I'm seeing currently right now, as free agency has begun, um, a lot of these guys want long-term deals. You know, um, I just don't see many options that we have right now to be able to bring in um, a good free agent center right now. You know, and also, um, we may be able to find a diamond in the rough. Summer league is about to start, so maybe we might be to find a guy on the Pelicans summer league team that may be pretty good as an undrafted free agent and can come in and help us out a little bit. But that's still yet to be seen. So currently, as it stands right now, we haven't made any moves. We haven't signed any free agents, and we haven't made any trades. This team is still the same exact team that we had last season, which finished 12th in the Western Conference. So, um, one of the reasons why I feel like it may be time for the Pelicans to start a rebuild is this right here, the Western Conference reality check. Now, obviously, like I said earlier, John Morant was traded to the Portland Trail Blazers, to a team that had a really, really good season this past season. I really like what I saw from Portland. Now, obviously, Tiago Splitter is not going to be there as the head coach. It's going to be a new guy. I think he came over from Minnesota. Not really sure of his name currently at the moment, but he's going to be taking over the team. I felt like Tiago did a really good job with that team. I think they made a mistake not re-signing him, but John Moran is headed to the Portland Trail Blazers, another Western Conference team. So they're going to be a lot better. Um, you know, LeBron James is not returning to the Los Angeles Lakers, so that's going to give them some cap space to possibly bring in some free agents and get better. So a lot of teams in the Western Conference are going to continue to get better. You still have OKC. You still have Minnesota that's possibly going to still be a factor bringing in LaMelo Ball. So the Western Conference is still going to be a tough conference to play in. And if we finish 12th with this current team that we have right now last season, I really don't think that it's going to be better results next season. Now, obviously, we're bringing in a new coach, Jamahl Mosley, who's going to implement a different system, going to implement defense, which that may make a lot of a difference. But you still have to have the right guys on the team with chemistry, with, you know, everything gelling together to be able to compete and have a good basketball team. Now, obviously, the Western Conference remains loaded with a lot of young teams. And the thing is, how far are the Pelicans from actually being able to be a playoff contender? Because, I mean, I don't really see much of a difference compared to what we had last year as it stands right now. And I think, you know, patience may be the smarter move. As a fan, I honestly wouldn't want to see the Pelicans going to rebuild right now because I know that that's going to possibly take a couple years until we actually, you know, uh, build a good team. But I feel like at the end of the day, if it's the right move for the team or the right direction, I would say for the team, I feel like as fans, we just have to wait and let this team continue to build and structure, and hopefully we can become a winning team. You know, so I don't know, man. But obviously, financial and roster decisions is definitely going to always be a key factor. Upcoming contracts, salary cap implications. Obviously we have DeJounte Murray on a huge contract. We have Jordan Poole still on the roster that's on a huge contract. Zion Williamson still on a huge contract. So we still have a lot of huge contracts on the roster. And the only way that we would be able to create cap space or gain some more draft capital would be to trade these guys. And as it stands right now, it doesn't seem like the market is really high as far as Zion Williamson goes. We know that Trey Murphy, his market value is very high because obviously it was all the trade talk and everything that was going on about Trey Murphy possibly, going somewhere else. So obviously a lot of teams are interested in Trey Murphy. I don't think that teams are really interested in Jordan Poole. I think they they may be interested, but they are not interested in that contract. I just don't think that teams are going to be looking to take on a $34 million contract with a guy like Jordan Poole, especially with the type of season that he had last season. He didn't really play that well. He didn't really do that much for us. So a lot of teams may be looking at it like, what is he gonna do for us? And he's just not worth us paying 34 million and giving away, certain assets that we could possibly use, or we could possibly go out and get a player that can shoot the basketball more consistent than Jordan Poole did last season and pay him much less money than what we'll pay Jordan Poole. So I just feel like, and I've been saying this pretty much all season, I just feel like the Pelicans are probably going to have to eat that Jordan Poole contract. Like, I just don't think they're going to be able to move that contract. And if they were able to, I feel like I would be really shocked. I would be surprised. Um, but, you know, the Jordan Poole contract is definitely an issue. You know, we definitely have to figure out what direction are we going with Trey Murphy. Obviously, he's probably gonna feel some type of way about his name being mentioned throughout the summer in trade talks. So you never know how he's gonna feel coming back to the team, you know, and we have to figure out his role as well on the team. Is he gonna be the focal point? Is Zion still the focal point? You know, we have to find a building block basically. Um, Now, also we have to figure out which players gonna stay and which players are untouchable. You know, if we're gonna keep Trey Murphy, then maybe we should make him the franchise player and possibly try to look at maybe trading Zion. You know, um, it's just a lot of decisions that have to be made, I feel, with this team right now. And I feel like the fact that I'm not really seeing a whole lot going on right now is just kind of like, man, like, are we still banking on this current roster to be a playoff contender with no rim protection, no good front court? Like, the results, in my opinion, are not going to be much different than they were last season if we don't find a big that can defend and rebound the basketball. Now, obviously, with Jamahl Mosley, we'll become a better defensive team, but you still have to have a center. That's key, especially in the Western Conference. Now, also, um, a franchise-defining decision. That's where we are right now. I feel like we're definitely um, at a crossroads, and we're at a franchise-defining decision right now. And I just kind of feel like the next 12 months could definitely determine the direction that this team plans to go in. I feel like next season for sure is going to determine the direction that this team needs to go in. Like, if we come out and lose multiple games and end up being last in the West, then I think at that point it's going to be clear that the Pelicans need to go in rebuild mode. Like, it's no doubt about it. Like, this team is just not going to get it done. Um, And obviously, I feel like the young core is worth investing in. I feel like, you know, you have Jeremiah Fears, a guy who I feel like at some point the Pelicans are going to have to hand the keys over to him. I feel like, you have Derek Queen, who's shown that he's going to be a good NBA player. You have Eve Messi, who's still developing. Like I said, Eve has only been playing basketball professionally, or I wouldn't even say professionally, organized for 5 years. So he's still raw and developing. You have Michael Peavy that you brought in. That's gonna be a really good player. You have the new rookie that we just drafted, Jaron Pierre Jr., who I'm really high on. I really want to see what he can do in summer league. He's a good scorer, very athletic. He can jump out the gym. I feel like he definitely has a whole lot of potential to be really good on the NBA level. And you also have a guy who I haven't really been talking about a whole lot in Bryce McGowens, who actually played really well for the Pelicans last season. So that's another guy that can be a part of the young core. And also, I can't forget about my guy, Carlo Makovic. So I feel like we have a lot of good young pieces that, with some draft capital and some assets, I feel like we can build something off of this core and just go in a rebuild mode, man. Like, I just feel like that might be the best option at this point. You know, it's like I'm looking around in free agency and I'm like, man, who are we gonna sign? We're not trading anyone. Like, a lot of these contracts are really untradeable. A lot of the guys that we could be looking to trade don't really have any value on the market. So it's kind of like I'm starting to get the feeling that we're gonna be left with this same team, you know, trying to be a playoff contender when we already know the results from last season that this current roster is just not going to work. I kind of expected the Pelicans to possibly retool and rebuild throughout the offseason, but thus far, man, I haven't really seen anything happening. And I'm starting to just kind of question the direction of the team and what direction are we really going to go in. Because obviously, we're currently playing basketball on two different timelines. I spoke about that in, videos way back, about the two different timelines. We're still on the Zion timeline, but then we have the Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears era going on. So it's like I just feel like at some point, like this team is gonna have to figure out, you know, what direction are we going in? And I think the best direction might be to just start rebuilding this team, man. As much as I would hate to see it, as I said, you know, I'm ready for the Pelicans to win now as a fan, but at the same time, you know, I'm like, it's not looking like we're ready to win now because we're not adjusting. We're not doing anything that's going to make us competitive, especially in the Western Conference. That's always key. I've always said that with the Pelicans, being in the Western Conference is always going to be the hardest task for this franchise, just because the Western Conference, as we all know, is always going to be one of the toughest conferences to play in and try to win in. So, um, I don't know, man. Like I always say, but you know, do you guys feel like it's time for the Pelicans to just clear house, clean house, and just hand the keys to Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears, man, and start a rebuild, man? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. Like always, man, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, the All New Pelicans Flock Report. I'm your host, D. Broussard. Go Pels. I'm out.